So checking the mic. Like I'm not gonna retake this, so no need to check the mic. So hello, I'm Ted. This is my log of my 3D printing journey, and this is also my first video. So back in, what was it again? I think it was, let me check right here, last month Friday. So on the 27th of September 2024 to be exact, I made the first choice of buying my 3D printer. So like I have wanted a 3D printer for like 10 years. Like, yeah, not that much, but like 7 years, 6 years, like for a long time. And I am somewhat of a maker, mostly about electronic and projects. So like I have a bunch of crates and boxes under my bed. You can be sure that there is no fishing material right down there. So I keep a lot of tools, power tools, drill, and I like to make stuff. So this isn't like somewhat fancy setup, but I get by with the little bit of stuff here. So I do a lot of electronic projects. Most of my tools is in this box. So like we have pliers, crimpers, tape measure, multimeter, power meter, and screwdrivers, all that stuff. And I enjoy making stuff a lot. That's why I am pursuing embedded engineering. But the problem with making projects, making stuff to solve problems in the real world, is that I don't have a way to contain the projects, like an enclosure for it. So I think I have a box around here. So let's take this as an example. I use this thing quite a lot, like this thing. So this is my password filler. So it is an Arduino Pro Micro and an LCD screen with rotary encoder to help me select the password. And this is the best I can make it, because the enclosure, which is this acrylic glass plastic stuff, is what holding the entire project together. I cannot make a better enclosure with the stuff I currently having. And buying boxes like this or stuff like this is very limited for my kind of projects. So because some of my projects takes up a bit more space, and I have to spend like 60, 70s or up to 100,000 Vietnam dong just to get the box. And like they maybe they do have a lot of advantages, but I cannot justify spending that kind of money for a basic projects box. So like for example, stuff like this. If I'm going to make a project out of this, it's gonna be bare bones. I won't be to enclose and protect the electronics inside there. So I have been wanting to have a 3D printer to make an enclosure for all my projects. Another reason is that making mechanical linkage stuff. So I made this part here out of a aluminium bar, stuff like that. And its main purpose is to interface the locking mechanism between the arm of the servo, so the tiny arm of the servo, and the arm of the water valve. Because in this situation I cannot use a solenoid valve, so I must turn the valve using a servo, RC servo motor, stuff like that. And I have to make this piece of shit to try to control the valve using the servo, and it was terrible. That's why I ditched it. and that's when I need to, that is when I know I need to have a way to interface from the electronic world to the real world. Like, yeah, coding, Arduino, stuff like that is only gonna get me so far, and I still need gonna know a way to interface with the real world. Like Adam Savage, like he needs a whole shop to do this kind of stuff. And after 6 months of internship at Bosch Global Software Technologies, I finally got enough money to get this printer from the company Meme 3D. Shout out to, maybe not a shout out, but yeah, they are one of the largest distributor of 3D printer in Ho Chi Minh City area. And I gotta say, I have been printing pretty much every week, every single day, non-stop. And like, this thing is super easy. For example, I basically have no mechanical engineer knowledge to create something like this from scratch. So more advanced kind of printer like the Ender Creality printer, I'm not going to be able to make it work consistently. And even though Bambu is notorious for being closed source, it is pretty damn well. Like, this thing has been printing like for a whole day, over a day, and it is making fine adjustment right here. Like, it's basically printing perfectly, and I love that kind of reliability, even though I have to pay like double the amount for the same volume of printing. But I think it's worth it. A couple of caveats when I got this printer: I cannot bring water here, so I cannot hydrate as often as I wanted. So I have to get out of my room, go downstairs, because filament like this thing gonna soak up a bunch of moisture, and that's not good. I have to seal off the windows, close the door when it's rain, and occasionally turn on the air conditioner when the room gets a little bit damp. And I try my best to print as fast as possible. This is actually a new spool of filament. I have already gone through one spool of filament. This first one is from Jamhe, for example, something like that, and it was a black filament. I have printing a bunch of stuff with this thing. I think I have this is my crate. Yeah, this is my caliper, a fucking piece of shit. I'm gonna tell you later if we have the time. So this is the box of stuff that I printed. I try to print a lot of stuff. For example, this is a rook. Bring somewhere clear. So this is a rook, and a special thing about it is that it have a spiral stair that go all the way. Why do I use this model? I just print another one in white. And if the camera can see it, yeah, you can see the handle, something like that, the main column, and the stair is somewhere down there if you can see it, but I don't think you can. Yeah, so that the spiral stairs, yeah, and it spiral all the way up to the top. And this is what 3D printing is for. It's give us the ability to make basically impossible geometry. Like, you cannot CNC this shit in one piece. That's not how CNC works. But yeah, like, and I even printed this thing in super fine 0.06 layer height. It took me like 6 hours to print this little thing. I do encounter a bit of problems with overhangs. It is quite hard to show with a white model. I think I have a look. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do have a little bit of problems with the overhang. Like the seam line is terrible, but this is one of the worst part. Yeah, like overhang is always bad. The top layer on this is the 0.4 millimeter nozzle. Like everything I printed in black is in 0.4 millimeter nozzle, and the top, even though this is 0.08 millimeter, the top doesn't come out that beautifully. Even though I tried having ironing function on, it doesn't help. But on the 0.2 millimeter nozzle from Bamboo, the top is like freaking perfect, like bolding perfect. Yeah, and like I paint a bunch of stuff, replica, Benchy. First thing is the first thing I printed, of course. Yeah, but the main purpose is to understand the capability of my printer as well as the slicer settings. So I have other stuff in here. So this is the filament swatch from Bamboo, like proprietary sheet filament. This is a digital caliper, but I use them a lot for my engineering stuff. But the main problem is that they are fine in small increment. So let me show you this. So I can roll it back. Yeah, so this one I can roll it back, I can close it. Yeah, it doesn't zero in every single time. And if I try to stretch it, like I try to measure something huge like this, 119, something like that, and when I try to slowly close it back up, it's sometimes like not now, but sometimes it gives me stupid number when it return back to zero. So I think the internal skip a little bit or something like that, so not that reliable. If you're going to get a caliber, go for something super name brand or maybe super basics, so it doesn't, so you don't encounter a situation like that. Yeah, this is my Dremel. I haven't had a lot of time using it, but I will probably use it in the future because sanding is a crucial part of 3D printing. But I haven't have a time because this thing isn't a particularly a good Dremel tool, but it a lot better than hand sanding. For painting, I painted a couple of models, but I didn't have them here because I gave it to my friends for his birthday. But this is basically what I use: gray primer. So like I spray it on 2 or 3 layers, and this thing will partially cover up the imperfection on the prints. So you just need to sand it down a little bit, and it will cover up all the overhang imperfection. And yeah, like it can basically hide, or it can basically hide the layer height, the layer lines, when you are printing 0.06 or 0.08 layer height. So super cheap, like 38,000 dong, so like a bit over $1 in the US. For glue, in Vietnam we have the stuff called like keo con chó, keo con voi, stuff like that. It is a kind of super glue, but it is super runny. Like I find the characteristics similar to Scotch super glue, but it is very runny. Like it has the viscosity of water. So even though this thing is like 5-6 times more expensive than that, I find the consistency is good because it is no run gel. I give it a dab and it stay there. It doesn't run over the place. And I use the acrylic marker. This is some cheap ass Chinese shit, like not that expensive to be honest, because it's Chinese stuff. So like basic acrylic marker color and I find it work very well with 3D printed parts. The problem is the layer lines will probably suck up a lot of color, like it will soak up the shit out of color. So I highly recommend using the primer first. So this thing is mainly for the details, the touch up of details. So I'm printing the blade of Jane Doe from Zenless Zone Zero. She's very hot and I want to print something for her. And this is the nozzle from Bambu Lab. The 0.2 millimeter nozzle is already being used for this. Give me a second to open this. Okay, wrong box. Oh no. So this is the Bambu Labs nozzle. Focus. Yes, 0.0 millimeter Bambu Lab nozzle, and it has seen in quite a lot of use. But this thing is very easy to put in. You don't even need any kind of tools. But it's quite expensive. I spent like $300,000 for a single nozzle. Like, yeah, quite expensive. I think the quality speaks for itself. Right, I just tools like pliers, flush cutters, sandpapers, and yeah, basic stuff. In the drawer you go. Yeah, I also print a couple more stuff like the key organizer, the layer lines, like basically impossible to see on camera. It's basically very hard to see it on with my eyes too, but I don't think 4K will help, especially when I'm printing in white. But yeah, you have to use your fingernails to feel the difference. And the printer is super awesome. Like, I can see the progress. 33 minutes more until finish. Nice. I've been playing from yesterday. I haven't put any maintenance in it beside the basic lubrication for the y-axis, as the manufacturer required me to do. Also printed a tiny cute little poop bucket because Bambu have a function of flow rate calibration, and what it does is basically push out all the old filament to calibrate the flow rate, and it flings this shit, I think that's the correct term, into this arm, and this is the you need to know it yet. Yeah, so it does this to fling out the old shit. One of the main downsides that I live in Vietnam and the drop ceiling is not insulated, so it's basically just empty spaces, electrical wires and stuff like that. No foaming on there, and this room is hot. Like, I usually have to open this door, but because I'm recording I have to keep it closed to not annoy other. I'm thinking about like putting it on a shelf, but yeah, having some trouble doing that because it may induce noise to the walls, but I like to keep this desk for working. Okay, a little bit about the workstation. So this is my battle station. Okay, let's dive into. I'm getting sidetracked. Sidetrack. Okay. So this is the printer. Fancy shit. Let's go over here. Like, this is the print queue, right? Yeah, so this is an example. This is a vase. Let's choose something more fun. Minos pose. So my friend and I is making something, and we buy this model online. We are reposing it and try to print it out. It's like the first pose is super challenging. I have a bunch of failed prints with this. no need to worry about that noise, but yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so this is the model. So the first model is somewhat like this, but with the hand position in a different place. The main problem when I first print is that the angle area is super weak, so it breaks while the angle all the time. And because the bamboo A1 is the best slinger, so it will sling this way, up and down, back and forth. It does not react well with tall model. That's why I printed the blade like this. Even though this way is super long, it took like a day to print it. It helped me preserve a lot of the details on the surface, as well. Yeah, like mainly about the details, not about the speed. And because I oriented this way instead of this way, so that the movement of the y-axis best slinger don't knock over the print like this thing. So what I should have done is push this button. Okay. So I should have rotated so it can withstand the force, the momentum of the best slinger. Over here is the I wanted to do this in other stuff, but in screen capture mode, but I don't have the time. This is way easier. So quality, yeah, quality 0.06 millimeter, always the best. Strength, I think I should do variable layer height next, because yeah, I don't like my prints taking days to print. Volume 3, a lot of the time I print with 100% infill. Now I know that is very wasteful to a lot of people, but for stuff that I only printed a couple of times, I kind of like the sturdiness and the stability of the solid model. So for figurine and for weak parts such as the base, I'll choose 100% infill. Support, yeah, tree support is gonna be the best for my case. But the problem with tree support is that the underside of the support usually get ruined. So for this model, the elbow area is gonna be cooked. The elbow area is definitely going to need support, but yeah, it's gonna be ruined. Another option is to cut at the arm and print it separately. And because of printing this model, this figurine, I have learned that you can, like, there's a lot more ways to cut it without cutting other parts, but I will dive into it later. But because of this figure, I have learned how to orient the print, how to cut and join it together with a key instead of having to eyeball it like the last time. The speed, I realized that I can push the speed of the bamboo printer quite a lot without ruining the print quality. Yeah, I think the main problem I have with the 0.mm nozzle is that 0.08 millimeter is just too small for it, and getting a 0.2 millimeter has been a game changer. I intend to make more videos about testing the quality of it, but I gotta say, 0.2 millimeter nozzle, 0.08 millimeter layer height with a primer, like, and the quality of this print is basically resin quality without all the holes and shit. And even though this is quite expensive, like 220,000, yeah, for a single spool of 1 kilogram POA plus, it's much cheaper. Like, to get the same strength of a resin print, I'm going to have to spend like double or triple the price to get the same amount of strength. So, and because my bed is right there, my printer is right here, like a couple of tiles away, this thing run 24/7, but as you can notice, it is very quiet. The largest, the noisiest part is actually the fans, and I sleep with a jet engine next to me, so you can hear it. Yeah, with this kind of sound, you are not gonna notice anything from the printer. But even though they say POA is non-toxic and stuff, I can still smell it. Even though I know that it's not that poisonous as ABS and other stuff, ASA, I try not to print during the night, mainly because this thing will heat up the room, and we don't really need heater in Vietnam. So in order to sleep properly, I usually have to turn on the air conditioner for a while. And having the printer, like a heater in the same room as an air conditioner, does not make sense. So that's why I print during the day. I work like 8 to 10 hours in the office. So I spend around 13 hours for work, including commuting time. And yeah, the printer can work hard at home, produce all that nasty shit, and when I came home, I got a lot of progress on my 3D printer. Now, of course, there will be parts that need to be printed overnight, and I just have to bear with it, and also keep the window closed, because my room have a lot of bugs. Like every time I wake up, there is bugs on my floor for no reason, and I don't want any of them to fly into the print and get embedded within the print itself. Yeah, I really need to work on my English, huh? So I print a lot of stuff. Yeah, this is my Logseq journal. Oh, let's see, what do I have for you? So I think that's pretty much it. I'm also learning on 3D printing, trying to make the best of it, finding clients, printing for cosplayer, engineer, architects and stuff like that. So I have wanted a 3D printer for so long, and now I got it. This is the end of the first log, and also the start of my journey. I will keep you updated.